Good evening. How's it going, people? What is up? Let's see. There we go. We got the people in here. Nice, Greg. Good deal. I don't have a load book for you, but there's that. Anyways, I did not expect for you to be empty 2 days early. But oh well. What are you gonna do, right? I can look for you. I can look on the click, the app tomorrow morning. So, anyways, what's up, guys? It is the weekend live. We've had a pretty full day. We went to the Ozark Empire Fair and watched jousting. We bought shirts, we bought knives, we bought horrible food. So I've completely broken my keto thing, but only for today. And we had a good time. Wife and I had a good time. So we're sitting here basking in our victories. The wife cooked a great meal. And I figured I'd go live, open forum. We could talk trucking, we could talk music, we can talk some things. We don't get too political here, but hey, whatever floats your boat. Although, everybody gets too angry for that. Anyways, not much is going on. As you can see, we've got the Snorelord t-shirt going on. I got the Snorelord guitar picks. As soon as I get stickers, then the members are going to get stickers and picks. So those of you who have been doing the membership, I appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, so I want to show my appreciation. For the few people that have bought stuff on my Teespring site, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So anyways, what's up? What's up, everybody? We will put the link in here. And we'll begin here. So I won't hit enter yet. Let's do some shout outs. We got Don Shonger, Pigtail, what's up? I hope you're doing well, Pigtail. Bull of the Woods, what's up? Jesse Wyatt, good evening. Nittany Lion, good evening, Steve. Dennis Richardsville, we here. Nothing Witty, good evening. Nothing Witty's in the house. Sterling, what's up? Let's see. Tennessee Trucking, I hope you're doing well. I saw that you made it home for a minute. Can't believe it, Steve. They are unloading me in St. Augustine, Florida, 2 days early. Look, Greg gets it done. Greg is one of my drivers. He gets it done. That is how you do it. That is how you do it. Sweet, just what I need at the end of the day. Good deal. Pale Rider TV is in the house. Stuart Warby, what's happening, man? What's happening? Jose, good problem to have. It is. It is a good problem to have. Evening, Steve, you appear pixelated. I'm sorry. I had this line on, but I accidentally hit the button that changes the colors. This narcissist light, and it's kind of, now it's not even working. There's like 5,800 settings. That's not even making a difference. So we'll just have to cut the power to it. Reset it. Let's see. I identify as people. Just finished making chili. It's good. I'm happy about it. Good deal, man. Good deal. Chili with no beans is a great keto treat. Give me a call after live feed tomorrow a.m. if you can, my friend. All right, will do. Will do. What's up? BLR, what's up, man? Hey, Snorel, what's up? How's it going? How's it going? Those of you watching on the small channel, thank you very much. So I discovered a new sport today, a new old sport. So, well, it's actually Thursday. So Thursday we also went to Ozark Empire Fair. We brought the Bratlings with us, and we sorry, let me get a hold of this here. See if anybody's on the other channel. There we got. Oh, we got 3 people in the smaller channel. No, I mean, if you could put the time, I can see both comments on the StreamYard, but if you want to put the time, hours watched on the small channel, that would be greatly appreciated. That way I can start doing community posts with that because I have a different plan with that channel. Like, to the point I might change the name on it, but we'll see. Anyways, so there was a group there that does jousting, and from the medieval knight age, and it's pretty cool and pretty violent too. Well, not like nobody died or anything, but the lances. If you ever go check out jousting on YouTube, and you'll see probably some cool stuff. It was a pretty cool show. So when we went back today to the fair, we watched that demonstration again. Come to find out that two of the people, or like one of the people and one of the horses, was on this TV show called Full Metal Jousting. It was on 2012 on History Channel back in 2012. So the wife and I found it on TV, and we started watching it, and pretty cool stuff. So I would, it's pretty. It was neat, because I like, of course, I'm into the Viking thing. I'm also into the medieval thing. Favorite movies are Braveheart and Gladiator and the Vikings, all the TV series of Vikings. And I'm into all that. Of course, I look the part. So I like all that stuff. I bought some Damascus knives that are pretty cool, handmade in Arkansas. So we had a good day. We had a good day. Um, you know, so anyways, that's what I've been doing. We went and saw some old tractors. I thought of DIY trucking. I sent him some of the pictures. Saw some old tractors. Um, we see anything else of significance, wife? We, like I said, we ate horrible food, horrible for you food, but it was good. Yeah, we saw baby goats. The wife is all about the baby goats. So, anyways, with both feet, what's up, Sterling? Yes, try to hit the small channel if you don't mind. Truck for fun. Hello, sir. Hope you're doing well, Mr. Jeffrey Like. How are you? Good times. When does community posting become available on a channel? I have no idea. It might be available now. I don't know. I don't check that email for that small channel as much as I should, but I've got other things. I've been guilty of focusing on the YouTube more than my business in the past, and I'm trying really hard not to do that in the present and in the future. So, good to see you, says Sterling. Let's see. Will you be dressing like a Viking for your Halloween live feed? No. I will probably doing the what do you call it? The wizard. Get the wizard hat, the wizard robe, complete outfit, complete. Super easy. We went to a Halloween party a couple of years ago, and I hate costumes. I absolutely despise wearing costumes. Never been into it. And and this party we were going to was definitely costumes encouraged. So I'm like, what, let's do something simple. So my wife, in her geniusness, said, let's go with salt and pepper. So she wore a black shirt that said P, and I wore a white shirt that said S, and that's how we went. And people thought it was clever. It was a cute couple's costume. Very harmless. But yeah, I'll do the wizard thing. I'll do the wizard thing just for Little Viking Coach, who was the master of disguises. So, anyways, there's the link. If anybody wants to come in, chit chat, we can talk about music. We can talk about trucking. We can talk about health. We can talk about food. We can talk about, whatever's going on. We're not going to bash groups. And if you're driving, keep your camera off. So, there's the links. So, as you can see, we got the shirts in. I got the coffee mug right here. Cat, don't be laying there. That might, I don't know, can't touch it. There we go. There's the coffee mug. Stupid StreamYard. The green didn't come out as good as I thought it would. It's not as bright. That's on the picture, but it's a pretty good cup. Pretty good cup. So, in fact, I'm going to pour a drink into it. So, anywho, if anybody wants to come in, that's cool. If not, then I don't know, I'll pick a topic. So, fuel's gone down, so there's that. I meant to jam with the guitar or with the drummer today, and that did not happen. He had some previous engagements, so we didn't do the live feed with the guitar and the drums this evening. One of these days, I'm going to do the live feed behind the drum set. See if you guys like that. So, see how bad I'm horrible. See how bad I am on the drum set. So, anyways, there's the link. No one wants to come in. You're all shy. I get it. So, but there were some headlines today. Let's look at some pictures here. So let's do this. Oh, no. Close that. Just stepped up for the night near Rockford, Illinois. Stopped for the night. Sorry. My next load takes me to Carthage, Missouri. How's the weather this weekend? Hot. Are you going to the caves there in Carthage, or are you going to the bed place? There's really only 2 places that you deliver to in Carthage. Cheese joint, you're going to the caves. So, Sterling, have you ever been in the caves? I've only delivered to the Carthage caves a couple of times. They're not too bad, but it was the same dock each time. But I've heard they're not too bad. Springfield's the easiest caves. Yep. They're nowhere near as difficult as the Kansas City caves. In all, 38 branches of well-known insurance Geico provider closed their doors for good, laying off hundreds of their employees in the process, according to the Sacramento Bee. Wow. Wonder what's going on there. All offices closed in California. There you go. That's crazy. Wonder why. Look, here's the thing, and here's something that you guys got to recognize. The Ozark Empire Fair, we've been going for. Well, before I get on that rant, let's add our guest in here. We finally got a guest in. What's up, Sterling? How are you?
How you doing, brother?
Looks like you're at home. Good deal.
Yeah, just another night, I believe. They got me a reload, leaving Logan, going to Carthage, Missouri. It's for Schreiber Cheese. They have 3 facilities there, it looks like. 2 of them are underground and 1's above. So I have been to the caves in that region before, but it's been a while.
Yeah, if you look on Google Maps, you can tell the caves because there'll be a parking lot and nothing there.
Right.
But there's a few places in Carthage. There's a bed place. One of the bed places, they make box springs and mattresses and stuff like that. They're there in Carthage, but you're probably going to the cheese place. If you're doing that, you're probably going underground.
Right.
So, have you been to Springfield Underground?
Oh yeah. It's been a while, but I've been there quite a few times. Many years ago, when I had a student at CR England, he didn't tell me that he was claustrophobic, and we woke up underground, and he's like, "Hey, where's the restroom at?" And I says, "Hey, it's knock on the door, and shipping and receiving's right there." He got out of the truck and he's looked up and he was like, what's going on here?" And he went into a full-on panic attack, just picked a direction and ran. And I was like, "Stop, you're a mile or 2 underneath the ground. You're not going to escape," and he come running back to the truck and passed out. And we had to call security and all that and have him escorted. And yeah, it was, surprise, surprise. You don't learn about your students till it's too late. He had been on the truck for a week.
Well, when I was at Transland there in Stratford, bunch of us were picking up in the caves somewhere outside of Kansas City in Independence. It wasn't Geospace, it was another set. And there was like 5 of us all picking loads going to various, one driver was going to California. I had a load. I had my son with me. We were going to Phoenix, which I was excited because I got family there. I hadn't been there in like, 10 years. It was, so I was looking forward to the trip. And then another driver was going to Washington. Another driver was doing this. And so we all go in there and we're all driving the same trucks, same blue Kenworth T660s. And this little old dude comes up to me that works for us, and he comes up to me and goes, "Man, I don't think I can do this." I'm like, "Well, why? What's going on?" He goes, "Man, I was a tunnel rat in Vietnam. I was the guy that they send in. I don't know if I can do this." I'm like, "Well, I can talk it over with you on the CB, or I can pull your truck in there and you can just sit in the passenger seat." He's like, "No, just talk me through it when we go in." So that's what we did. But I was prepared to drive his truck in, but he handled it okay. We go in there and we're all checking in the office all at the same time. All the loads canceled except for mine. And
in a place that you don't have any phone reception.
Right. So they let us use the phone. I mean, I was fine. They let the drivers use the phone. But yeah, it was actually these smaller LTL shipments. And when they realized that these weren't full truckloads, they decided that they were going to put it on, some yellow roadway or, Dayton, whatever. Mine was the only truckload, but I only had a half a trailer. It was literally like 2,000 pounds, 8 skids of just cardboard cutouts of Subway advertisements. So I got killer fuel mileage to go all the way out to Phoenix.
Yeah.
It was a blast. But yeah, it was kind of crazy because we're all sitting there. All the drivers are ticked off because we get paid by the mile. And I was afraid that they were going to cancel my load, or they were going to give my load to one of the more, one of the drivers that had more tenure.
Sure.
But so it was, but yeah, the dude was a tunnel rat, and he was very, he didn't freak out, but you can tell he was nervous. But once he did it, he was fine, because the way I look at it, it's like a big warehouse, right? I mean, if you've ever picked up cotton.
No, I haven't.
You drive into a building, so to me, it's just like driving in a building.
Okay. Yeah, I've done that with step deck and stuff, loading, steel and stuff like that, where the crane will move over the truck and all that.
Right. And the positive is if there's a nuclear war or a comet hits the earth and you're in the caves, you got all the food places down there, so you're good to go there.
Right.
They got ventilation. They've got you've got everything you need down there.
Yeah,
so
I think Subtropolis, our U.S. postage stamps are made down there too, so you can have postage stamps and refrigerated food.
Yeah, and I remember Jesse Ventura. I used to like him. I used to respect him because he would get on Howard Stern and he would do these really smart interviews, but he'd get kind of Alex Jonesy a little bit. And
yeah.
And but he did that TV show, and they did the show about the Springfield Underground caves. And they were like, "Oh, there's a whole city down there. There's a city of secrecy, and
right.
There's enough food and water, and there's like this whole, like, he made it sound like there was this whole established civilization down there." And
I was so disappointed when I saw it in real life. I was like, "Come on, where's the armed security?" And
and then the other thing he did was they were like hiding out behind this factory that made, they were basically the things that they put in some vaults. They're plastic lined. They're like, "Oh, these are for all the dead bodies." That was back when Walmart was going to have all these FEMA camps, and when Obama came in the office, we're going to have all these FEMA camps, and Walmart was going to run them, and all the coffin boxes were being built and all this stuff.
So in other words, the good old days.
Right. And I knew what those things were because I've hauled them. They had nothing to do with dead bodies. They had something to do with power plants. But That's when I kind of lost respect for Jesse Ventura and realized that people say some wild stuff, just reviews. So one day I ran into this YouTuber, ran into this YouTube channel that's all about the conspiracy theories, and he was sitting outside Springfield Underground talking to every truck that went into the caves, and he's like, "What's it like in there? Is there a whole city?" And there were drivers that were really like, "Oh yeah, it's a whole community down." Like completely.
Yeah. For me it would be a battle between jump in, let's go, and oh my god, you can't go anywhere near this place.
You're gonna get shot.
Yeah.
I think so. And yeah, when you go down now,
Ventura, I haven't heard that name in quite a while. What's he up to now?
I don't know. He was the governor of Minnesota, and then just kind of petered out. He'd threatened to run for president, but I don't think that would ever happen. But
yeah, and I think he'd moved to Mexico or something. I don't know if I'm confusing him with Ron White or what.
No, he did say in the Howard Stern interviews that he went to Mexico 6 months out of the year. So it's funny because he was on that trucking show, Freewheeling, and he was talking to those two, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I love parking next to the trucks. Their engine noise makes me sleep better." And she's like, "Yeah, truckers kind of hate when RV people, take the
trucks. The truth.
Trucks.
They park in a rest area, and every slide out as far as they can go."
Right. What's up, Mr. Like? How are you?
Oh, nothing, man. Just hanging out. What's going on?
Greg's empty early, so I guess I got to get to work soon. Find him a load. I wasn't expecting to be empty till Monday.
Is it possible to book a load on a weekend? Is that a possibility?
It is. There are some brokers that if they got desperate, if they need to move a load, or if it's a 24/7 shipper and they've got loads that come out every day that they don't have covered, they'll put their cell phones in the DAP board, or in the low board thing.
Right.
And sometimes you don't get many negotiating power, but a lot of times you can rescue a load and make some really killer money that normally wouldn't be there. So it's just hit and miss. The click and goes have a lot of opportunities depending on what area you're in. Like there's Coke loads or Niagara water loads that are like 24/7. So, that kind of thing. You just got to know where and when to look and what's a false posting, because what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of brokers will do these automatic postings every so many minutes. So you think a broker is going to answer the phone, but they're not. It's just an automated thing that they're doing.
That's right.
So.
What's up, Greg Zimmer? How's it going? Greg gets it done, though. Greg's a hustler.
He is.
Yeah, so
all right.
I didn't do much today. It's hot, but took the grandson out. He's, driving, so let him drive. I don't know, a few hours, because he's got to do so many with the driver's training nowadays. It's different from when we did it. Us old guys, right? you just went and you got your permit, and then you went and took your test, and that was it.
Oh, nice. I learned to drive because my dad was too drunk to drive himself to the liquor store.
Right. Or if you're a farmer, you learn, on the farm equipment, right? Farm trucks.
Do they still have driver's education in school?
No, you got to pay for it. Yeah, you got to take a separate. The way it works, you got to pay this company. Then they do the training, but then they got several stages of licenses now. So they got to drive 30 hours with somebody before they can take what they call stage 2, where they got to go in and 2-day class, and then they get their permit to another level, and then they got to get 50 hours. It's just weird.
Yeah, there's no way to document it. Like we had to have hours for our kids, and all we did was keep track, and they didn't ask.
Well, it's app based now.
Oh, it's app based. Wow.
Yeah, it's all GPS in the app.
Wow.
It clocks you all the miles and hours you do.
Huh.
No.
Yeah.
Technology. As long as it makes better drivers, I'm cool with it.
Well, I don't know about better drivers. Hey, as long as they don't have their phone in their hand looking at Facebook.
You know, I took driver's ed in I believe my sophomore year in high school, and they had one day that they brought in somebody from the railroad to teach you all about safety around the railroad. I'm thinking, why not do that for the trucks? Why not bring a truck driver in and say the do's and don'ts of driving around big semi trucks and educating. So I mean, I don't that needs to happen. I
Yeah.
think so.
I think I was probably one of the last classes that had Red Asphalt, where they play that crazy movie, showing all the people have been injured and died in car accidents and all that.
Yeah, I still remember my parts of my educational film in driver's ed, and it was pretty gory. They showed them pulling a dead body out of a car, and it was like a Cannibal Corpse song. What's up, Mr. Pale Rider?
All right.
Oh my Lord, Legend is here.
Is that a Jack in the Box shirt?
It is a Jack in the Box.
Oh no, it's a Cardinal shirt. Okay.
No, it's a St. Louis Cardinals shirt.
Okay.
But he's got
From
Jack in the
years
Box on the
ago.
sleeve. He's representing both brands.
Right on.
Are you trying to say that the Jack in the Box serves Cardinals?
Oh.
Oh, that is on it. It is on the shirt. I didn't know you know that.
Yeah. We can read. Pale
I didn't know you were.
We're not like the new students
There,
in
that's
America
better.
where they don't even read or learn how to write.
I didn't know you were such
Cursive.
a sports fan there, Mr. Pale Rider.
Did you know that, Sterling?
No, I'm not
The
really.
kids
Somebody
nowadays,
just gave me the shirt.
Oh, okay.
did you know that, Sterling? The kids don't even know how to do cursive anymore in school. They don't teach that.
I make sure that my daughter learned. I heard about that about 4 or 5 years ago. They want us, if you want to take over a country, change the language and dumb everyone down.
Dumbification, right?
Yeah.
I think they call it what? De-evolution.
Well, how do you sign contracts? How do you
Do
sign
you ever
things
Uh,
that are cursive?
An X?
Huh? An X?
just an X?
No, that sounds
I don't know.
Yeah.
what they used to do back in the post-slavery days, right?
X marks the spot.
Yeah, if you couldn't read or write back in the old days, they just put you an X and you were good to go.
Yeah.
But nobody reads contracts anyway, so that's stupid anyways.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about people that don't read contracts. There's a list of them.
Yeah.
They always complain about it.
Well,
It was in the
congratulations on your grandson getting the driving thing. So you're gonna
Well,
let him have the pickup
You know what he's asking for now, right?
keys.
Well, he's already starting to ask for a car. I was like, you don't even have a license yet. I said,
Oh,
go
you
talk
just
to
had
Uncle
a-
Snorelord.
Yeah. Well, good luck finding a car that's worth a darn. That's less than $5,000. That's for sure.
Did you find one?
No, we just decided to fix the car. I was
Yeah, I
over
found.
the guy that I go hunting with. His son, he's a mechanic, and so I called him at a shop and said, "Hey, man, can you give me a true estimate what this car is going to fix?" And he gave me the original estimate was like, what was it, 3,800, right? Something like that. 3,800. The car, the first estimate.
To fix it?
Yeah.
Like just for the one part, and then
3,800.
the rest was going to be even more.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's fixing a semi truck.
Half of it, but not the transmission.
Yeah, so when the transmission failed, we took it to this one shop and they said, "Look, you got all kinds of issues with this car. There's a brake issue, there's engine mount issue, there's the transmission." They said they don't rebuild these anymore, they just replace these, and you're looking at about $4,000 or $5,000. So I'm thinking, we paid $5,000 for the car. So it's like we're not putting $5,000 into a $5,000 car, right? So
Feel right.
my daughter was brokenhearted because she loves that car, and she was probably going to buy it off my wife. So she was bummed out. So we did the test drive. We test drive piece of crap after piece of crap after piece of crap. We're looking at paying $8 to $10 grand for something that may not be any better. So I said, you know what? Let's just, and then Big Rick CO, he called me and goes, well, our friend has, he works on cars, right? Why don't you take him to him? Okay, so his original estimate was $3,800. We said, you know what? Just do it. And then he called me last week and said, look, the new estimate's going to be about $2,800. So we're like, yeah, do it. So it should be done by next Friday.
And honestly, that's money better spent than throwing it at new car dealerships and that friggin' complex.
Yeah.
Well, we got one for the daughter, and we looked and looked, Facebook, looked through all those ads that were scams, right? And then we finally caught a break. And the guy said, well, no, I told the guy he'd be here at 5:00, so you're second in line. So sat there and waited. Of course, they bought it because it was a good deal. Then the next day, for just over $4 grand, it just hit like a minute. She was looking and it just showed up. So I called the guy. So I just posted it. I said, I'll be there to get it. So we drove an hour, and it was a nice car. Couldn't believe it was on there for that price, but so we picked that up. Or otherwise we'd have to, be rebuilding motors and all kind of stuff.
Well, that was always one of our dreams was, my wife wanted to buy one of them, buy an old car and buy one of those, those books that you get at O'Reilly's, what are they called?
The Chilton manual.
Yeah. And then on your free time, work on the cars. And that, of course, that never transpired because of time, money, and tools and all that. And you just can't do that with these new cars anymore. And that's, of course, that's on purpose. But, my ex did that for my oldest daughter. She bought like an 84 Mustang, and they were going to fix it up together. And that car stranded me trying to get it legal. And I was like, you know what, this car is done. And the daughter wasn't even interested in the car because she didn't get her license up until like last week. And she's 30 years old. So, I mean, a lot of these kids, their priority is not with, I remember when you're 16, that's the first thing you want to do is get your car, get your license and drive. A lot of kids.
Not only that, but Dad always reiterated, you turn 18, you're out of here.
Right. And you can't do that anymore because, what are you going to do? Kick them out, put them in $1,000 a month apartment that's roach infested and full of crime? Meth heads?
Or when you were 16, you went and got a job, you bought your own car, and $300-400 gets you a good car back then.
Chip,
right?
Yeah.
But $300 or $400 won't even get you to the junkyard.
Well, that's the thing. So we always told the kids that we would pay half. So if they wanted to buy a reasonable car, go out and buy a new Mustang, we would pay half. So it shows responsibility, it shows that we're helping, and the world's different than when we were that age. I think we're all in the same age range here, and it's not as easy. I'm not, I know that kids need to be strong and all that, but they're up against a lot more odds. I told my kids that driving around Springfield is a lot different than when I was learning to drive, because we're twice the size, people are twice as aggressive. It's like driving in a big city around here.
And they're 10 times distracted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because of the cell phones.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I pulled my Volkswagen out of the shop today just to see if the carburetors were gelled up or anything, and it's lowered and everything. And I'm driving around town here around all the pickup trucks and stuff, and I look in the rear mirror, and all I see is the headlights of a truck that's behind me. And I look behind me, and he was still 20 feet behind me. These, everything is way bigger than that stupid little car.
What do you got? 70s model or something?
67.
67.
Nice little classic car. Right now here around Reno, we're having hot August nights, so everyone's out, polishing up their cars and driving around all the casinos and stuff and showing off their cars. I don't have a chance this weekend to go do it, but figured I'd do it here in hometown, Fallon, Nevada.
Yeah, every Memorial Day we have used to be the Outlaw Nationals. It was all hot rods, and so they'll cruise right down this road that we live off of, and it used to be a thing, the Cruise Carney Street in Springfield, and they're bringing that back. But yeah, so we saw some pretty interesting cars over Memorial Day. So what we'll do is we'll park on the road and watch them all. I shared some pictures on Facebook. So, and then we got a driver here that he rebuilds cars. He's got a lot of cool stuff. So
you know what I did, right? I had him drive me to all the places I wanted to go to. Right, so we hit the highway, then we hit the city. We go to the Harley Davidson dealers, all over the place, just looking, and just go to all the good stuff, right? Go to the gun shop, go over here, the good stuff.
Is Jeff gonna get a Harley?
I've already got a motorcycle.
No, but I don't care how many motorcycles they have. Are you gonna get a Harley?
No, not unless you buy it for me. Did you see the price they want nowadays for that stuff?
DIY Semi, he did it on YouTube. He test drove one of them new electric Harley Davidsons that has.
Oh no, those are bad, dude. Them are nice. They're fast.
It's the Harley Davidson Live Wire, and it has a vibrator in them, so it feels like it's a Harley, even though it's electric.
Yeah. But that Live Wire is fast though.
Oh, it was fast, but I mean, it's like, I don't know, putting fake noises and fake vibrations, that's just kind of stupid. It's like, remember back in COVID world when they had like fake cardboard cutouts in the stands at sporting events? And
and Springfield has them.
Go ahead, Pale Rider. Pale Rider. Go ahead, Pale Rider.
He needs a new laptop. Pale Rider.
No audio, Pale Rider.
Oh, I think he's mimicking you making fun of his restream platform. So what he's doing is this, Steve.
It's sign language.
Yeah, it's sign language, Sterling. Jack in the Box. So, I always type into him. Good job.
Yeah, I did. I told him no audio.
So me and DIY, we would, I don't know, the way I think about it is that if you're looking at, let's say, 30, 40 grand or something, right? That'd buy a nice tractor or a really nice down payment on a really nice farm tractor.
There you go. Yeah, really. I agree with you. Electric Harley Davidson. Are you serious?
Oh, Pale Rider, we can hear you, but it's all jumbled up and it's like delayed.
In your lips
got a
movie,
speaker, make it sound like a real Harley.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a real bad delay.
Yeah.
It's like watching a Chinese movie. Remember those little Chinese movies?
Dubbed.
Yeah. Time to fight.
Yeah.
Either that or it's a satellite feed from Ukraine.
Yeah. What?
You got a lot of lag there.
Pale Rider,
yes.
Go out and come back in. You got a lot of lag going on or something.
No, I was saying the Harley electric one has got the thing.
It's got the thing.
Okay. I told him. Huge delay on that. That was weird.
Yeah.
It's like watching one of those old movies.
I don't know. I think the electric vehicle thing, I think it's a scam. I think they're not ready for it. I think that it's hypocritical. I think that it's not really solving a problem. It's just rearranging it. I don't think the infrastructure is in place for it.
We definitely don't have the infrastructure for it. And what's going to happen if, Lake Mead completely dries up? What's going to happen to the electric grid when they have to move all that electricity to bypass Hoover Dam? Has anyone talked about that this year?
No.
Another thing, does everybody know what it takes to make those batteries and where all the materials come from? You want to talk about
Pale Rider?
You want to talk about ruining the earth, man? They strip mine to get that stuff.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yep, you're good now.
And it's mainly in all the countries that hate us.
Yeah, Yeah, they do a lot of it here in Nevada too. I guess you can get a lot of lithium from the dry lake beds. So all of our dry lake beds, they're skimming off the top, getting the lithium and stuff. My girlfriend actually works at the Panasonic plant, and her mine alone makes 380 cells in a 24-hour period. There's 14 lines that run 24/7 there.
So there's nothing green about them,
No.
right? It's worse than gas.
No.
Well, I
So
mean,
it's a
there's
big gimmick.
there was the conspiracy, not the conspiracy, but there was the theory out there that the main reason why we were in Afghanistan and the reason why Russia tried to get a hold of Afghanistan was because the lithium reserves that they got there. But then, like, there are parts of Alaska that have like $1 trillion worth of copper sitting up there that they can't do anything about. So it's like we have our resources that, I mean, that's what made us a powerhouse World War II. And we've literally been stripped of that by other countries, by our own government.
But why are we always going for technology that we have to rely on foreign countries and make our infrastructure rely on foreign countries?
It's because our politicians have such a boner for anything European. Like, look at all of our smog standards for our trucks and everything. It's all about, let's meet the Euro tier 3 or tier 5 and all that stuff, and then that just gets adopted by America.
Well,
they go overboard too, though, right? I mean, California goes overboard and everything, and then that causes the rest of the country to go overboard.
I've gotten into arguments with people, when they say, "Oh, you drive a semi truck, you're destroying the environment and all that stuff." It's like, I can take you out to my truck right now, and you can stand next to the exhaust. I'll start it up and see how much black soot you see. There's nothing.
Actually, the new trucks, we should charge California for cleaning their air.
Yeah.
Because they're zero emission, correct?
Yeah. Porsche has said that for years. They've been zero emission for 10 years, 20 years.
So they should be paying us to clean their smog.
So I look at the bigger picture. So Sage did a video, and what he did is he played another video talking about how empires fall. And so what happens is an empire creates the technology, they create structure, they create the knowledge, and then pretty soon they start farming that out. Now we're fat and happy, so we're going to hire that work out. So now the second level of countries get that technology. They learn how to make the cars. They learn how to make the chips. They learn how to make the stuff that literally is what created our country. And this has happened with England. It's happened with it happened with Rome, and then pretty soon they become the strong point because now they're in control of the technology. They got the knowledge. They got the control. So once they have the resources, then what do they need us for? And that's primarily what's happened. That's the bigger picture. And it's a cycle. If you read the book, The Fourth Turning, it talks about the cycle. It's literally the cycle of strong men create good times create weak men create hard times create strong men, and so forth. And that's kind of where we're at. So
at least on the third stage of that, right?
Yeah, we're pretty much on the fourth turning as we speak. There's got to be a major national event that, and I think the last one was World War II. So, I mean, if you look at the things that are happening today, with food and resources and the changing of our power, it's pretty evident. It's all cyclical, right, Stuart? It is. So, like, and Pigtail kind of proves my point. We do mine lithium, but we have no refiners. We shipped all this Australia or China to be processed.
Yeah, because it's a big no-no from the EPA for us to even try refining that stuff.
Right.
I'll answer Dennis's question here, but he's not going to like my answer. He's got a HD Deluxe for 18 grand. If I ever bought one, I'm old. Like most of these guys, like this guy over there, that guy. Not these two top guys, but the guy next to me. It would have to be a tri. I would, I'd buy a Tri-Glide if I bought any of them.
Are you a motorcycle guy, Pale Rider?
What do you think of that, Sterling? I'd do a tri-glide if I bought one.
They're good bikes, yeah. I've
Because
worked on a lot of Harleys like in the last year, and I'm not, for as cheap as they're built, I don't see the premium other than
Right.
you're getting into a culture.
Because I don't want to come, I've already got one that's on 2 wheels that I've rode forever. And getting old, I just don't feel like going to that stop and you fall over, because your leg gives out or your back gives out.
Well, the falling is the easy part. It's picking the bike back.
You guys picking it back up, right? 800, 900 pounds, whatever. Depends on what model.
I remember I was going through a town in the truck, and it was like coming around the corner. I was completely in my lane. This dude comes around with a Harley, and he doesn't see me, and he stops, and he almost hits me. And he stops just in time, but then tips the bike over. He was cursing. He was like, "Dude, you all right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, I was in my lane. He was like, "I know." Like, wow, okay. Yeah. So I think he was beginning to learn to ride it or whatever. But yeah, it was like, I kept expecting Transland to get a phone call saying, "Hey, did you hit a motorcycle?" But because he never really officially hit me, to avoid hitting me, he laid the bike over. But I was completely out of fault on that.
When I was camping, I went and got some gas and stuff, and I was coming out here. It just started raining. Of course, you get the oil on the road, and the older guy was pulling into the gas station, and the bike just slid out from underneath him, and he landed on the concrete and stuff, and we all jump out to go help him. He jumps up and he's yelling and screaming, and says, "I'm all right," and he's hobbling along. So I think you need an ambulance, man. You broke your ankle or something. Well, he was mad because he turned too quick and it just slid,
Right.
Yeah, Pneumatic Brit. That was one of the examples that the video talked about. Is like the English Empire and or the British Empire. That's what happened. It's the same thing. So.
Mr. Bill. I remember Mr. Bill.
Back when Saturday Night Live was actually watchable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live, horrible show. I think they had 2 good years, maybe 4. That's about it. So, but I was thinking about you earlier, Jeff. There was a Hellcat on display at the fairgrounds and an RV. I thought, man, if I was Jeffrey Leck, I would have bought these 2 vehicles right here and now, and I'd be swimming. So.
Have fun with the insurance on that.
we do not spend that kind
of, really.
We don't buy that kind of.
Well, the wife.
Am I still lagging on the audio?
Yes, you are, Pale Rider.
Yeah.
You're like almost a full minute behind. You're answering questions that we asked. Like,
see,
is my audio still lagging? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but there's a huge delay.
Right. You remember those old movies, the Chinese movies? He left.
Yeah.
Well, the wife's Challenger, that's back in 2011 when we bought that. So what's that, 11 years old now? Going on 12? Yeah. But she doesn't want a new one. She says, I like my old one. Which I'm happy for that because the new ones are too expensive.
Right. And you got the actual Hellcat, right?
No, we just got the RT.
Oh, okay.
The 5.7, but it's it's the RT because the RT came out first, and they came out with the Hellcat and then the Demon and all that good stuff.
They're good cars. Anytime I get the urge, I just go rent one for a weekend in Vegas, and then I come back to my dad van and paid off cars.
Yeah, it's paid off. So it's fun to drive in the summertime because it's got a lot of power.
Yeah, when I went to Schneider, a friend of mine and I went to Schneider at the same time. A guy that I trained over at Transland, we were good friends, and of course he was getting an SFI truck, so they gave him a rental car, and of course I drove my truck there, and he calls me and he goes, "Dude, I got a Dodge Challenger." He goes, "So man, don't get a speeding ticket on the way to orientation," and he let me drive it from hotel to the airport when he had to take it back. It was pretty cool. You know, it's got that dial knob for the transmission. I'm thinking, man, all it takes is Nickelback to come on the radio. You throw the car in reverse accidentally. And
You know, that's Steve. You were over here, so I mean, if you go in the pole barn, there's a lot of toys in there, but what people don't understand is they're all old, but they look new because I was a truck driver, always over the road and gone, so that they never got ridden, so they look brand new.
mm-hmm.
But they're all old and, you know, it's all paid for stuff. But they look new.
I don't remember seeing your motorcycle. I remember seeing all the four-wheelers. I remember the tractor because you had to use the tractor to get me out of your driveway. I don't even think I've seen your RV.
The motorcycle was there. I don't know. You probably just didn't realize it, I guess.
Probably. It might have been covered. And then the RV, I saw your RV the last time I was there.
It wasn't covered. It was directly in front of you when you pulled in.
The garage? Well, I didn't go in the garage.
You backed in. You backed in. Yeah,
I backed in. Yeah.
You backed in, so it was behind you.
Because in order to get in Jeff's garage, you got to drop the airbags because it's too low. So
that's one issue with my shop too. Even with my airbags, I'm about 3 inches too tall, so I'm gonna have to take the fairing off my mid roof.
No, you can get in. It's my door is like 12.6, 12.7. So if you drop the bags, you've got about an inch to spare. But the new shop that should have been built and done by now is put on hold until next spring. For one, cannot find nobody that wants to do the work. And the materials. So next spring is the a tentative plan, and if I can't find somebody to do it, guess what? I do it myself.
Yep.
Hire a bunch of Amish people. You got any Amish communities there in Michigan?
No, I got half the guys said they'll come and help me. Well, you heard him. You heard Randall on my live feed. He says we'll have a shop raising party.
Yeah. So if Like Trucking has a company picnic, I know what that's going to be about.
Yeah.
Bring a hard hat.
Yeah, bring a hard hat. U.S. household air conditioning could exceed electric capacity in the next decade due to climate change. It's happening now.
Look, Steve, we will let you drive the heavy equipment.
Sweet.
You know, to strip the land and all that. You can get into my big farm tractor with the air conditioned cab, and you can scrape off the topsoil and all that, and we'll sit and watch. While you're doing that, we'll all be shooting guns,
right,
on the gun range,
or barbecuing.
Yeah, and barbecuing.
Yeah,
and we'll say, "How come you're not done yet? And why isn't that level?"
Well, I don't know how to get anything level, so there's that. But
the issue that I have with the argument about global warming and stuff, you've seen Pigtail brought up in a comment there. It's like they want us to believe that we can't overcome and adapt. Like we need to just stay where we're at, and no matter how hot it gets and how many droughts and earthquakes and all that, you're stuck where you're at. And it's not like our ancestors moved or anything. I don't understand that whole thought process of, like California right now is going through a big old drought and everyone's panicking and, don't water anything and we're all going to die kind of thing. And it's like, 600 miles north, you got plenty of water.
Yeah, if you don't like it where you're at, or you're complaining, move.
Right, and I just everyone talks about green energy and all that crap, and then all the people that are telling us the sea levels are going to rise bought oceanfront property.
Yeah.
So what's the deal?
Or you get all these battery operated vehicles, these buses and stuff. Then they break down. Then what's taking them back to the shop? Diesel powered.
You want to hear? Okay, so if you guys got your computer in front of you, Google the Walmart concept truck, and it's a Peterbilt that was all aerodynamic. And this is before the Tesla came out, or the Tesla was even thought of.
We're all going. Sterling's typing in Walmart.
I got two computers running at the same time right now. I'm uploading a video.
And
Steve, you need a third screen.
I need a third screen. Let me see if I can find it here.
The Walmart what truck?
The Walmart concept truck. Just Walmart concept truck. I'll
there you
get
go.
it in here. I'll put it on the screen.
Walmart Advanced Experience Vehicle Concept Truck.
Yep.
Looks like one of those evil-looking birds, the head of it or whatever.
So years ago,
I got a cool story about this truck.
I want to say like back in the 80s, but remember Callaway, who used to do like the cool Corvettes and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
He did a concept truck that looked almost just like that back in the 80s.
They probably stole it from his design.
So check this out. So a friend of mine, so that's actually a Peterbilt. If you go with the, like there's the Peterbilt logo. What if I can blow this up here?
It almost looks like a sports car. Then they stuck a Peterbilt sleeper on top of it.
So right here where my mouse is, that's a Peterbilt logo. And what it is, it's a hybrid truck. So a friend of mine who lives in Arkansas, works for a school, said that that's actually in their shop. That truck is 10 years old, doesn't run. They don't know what's wrong with it. And the windows smashed because it sat in Dallas and barely survived, I guess, some thunderstorms or whatever. But yeah, this truck right here is in ruins at this point.
Did you see the interior of it? They got a bunch of pictures of the interior of it.
Let me look here.
That's crazy.
Go to images.
Yeah, I got all
the from 2014 Walmart debut.
Click on the one right there, Steve, to the second one from the top left down. You go one down from the top.
That one?
That one. Yeah, you should be able to get all the images inside of it.
Oh, wow.
If you go there and
that's interesting because the Tesla semi is very similar to that.
Right.
So you'll see the little sleeping quarters back there, which isn't even sleeping quarters. Just it must be a pull-out bed, it's one of them cheap pull-out things, like in an RV. It looks like.
Right.
Well, someone made the point that with the truck being with the seat being in the center of the cab, you're always at a blind side.
Everywhere. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you're half blind on both sides. I don't know. With all the money they're paying their drivers, how can they afford a cool truck like that?
Well, that's the thing, though. This thing's 10 years old and it doesn't run. That's the funny part, is that they don't know what's wrong. It's hybrid, so it works off diesel and batteries.
Sure.
Let's see if I can find the text he sent me.
Here, I'll send it. I'll send it to you in an email, the ones I'm looking at.
Okay. You said it was diesel-powered turbine powers the batteries.
There, you should have it in your email. You can click on it and bring it up.
Okay.
Well, don't show your email on the screen. But
Right, no, I won't.
DY, these shenanigans.
And the storm knocked out the plexiglass windows, he said. But
Wow.
Yeah, he sent me all these pictures of it all broken down. And let me stop sharing the screen, get this email up here.
Nomadic Brit saying in the comments, those huge wind turbines aren't even biodegradable, keeping it green. They have a gigantic storage facility where they just dump all those things in Idaho right now.
Looks like they got a picture of the clothes cabinet. It's got enough for like 4 Walmart shirts in it.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need. Just click the arrows.
Well, that, and you're going to share that truck with 5 other drivers anyway, so.
No, click the arrows back the other way, Steve.
It's got like a suicide door on it or something.
Oh wow, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, if you go to the arrows up there on the page itself, move your
That don't look comfortable
those
at all.
arrows. Yeah, there you go.
So those TV screens on the each side, that's the mirrors probably.
Yeah.
That's coming pretty
there's the
common
dual
already,
seat.
though.
Yeah, they're trying to make that common now. I guess DOT allows you to not have side mirrors now. You can actually have cameras as long as there's a
Right.
monitor.
Well, I was parked next to one of the Schneider test trucks that it still had mirrors, but it had the sensor things. You know, it's like, man, that's a trip.
Yeah, here's your bunk area, which is basically just a little couch.
Right.
It's got posters on the back wall.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. There's your whole inside right there.
I mean, it looks cool and stuff, but the question is, why isn't it here? You know, it's just, it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense with the pocketbook yet, right?
That, and imagine parking that at a truck stop all day and then coming. That's a giant greenhouse. My God, that thing would be hot.
Oh yeah, you'd be roasting.
Yeah, spread all those windows like that.
Yeah, you'd be.
And you got to change
baked.
clothes, and you gotta. You're just
Yeah,
Where's the curtains?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense for an electric truck. Glass is heavier than a sheet of tin or aluminum, right? So it's just adding weight to the truck.
Well, it's plexiglass. The guy that sent me the photos, which I can't really show, the glass is broken. It's all plexiglass.
Right, because it was just a
You
concept
survived
truck,
some
right?
thunderstorms in Denton, Texas. That's crazy.
I don't know. I wouldn't drive it. It don't have twin stick.
Twin stick.
Well, Schneider sure ain't gonna have it because there's no passenger seat, so they can do a road test. Got a passenger seat, or you can't
You
have the
sit
truck.
back and look at the nice posters. Oh wait, let's go back to that one.
Look at
Yeah,
the
that one.
footwell. There's a thing straight down the center, and both the pedals are off to the right side.
You need to go to the one with the Walmart shirt in it.
Is that it right there? And I'm not a fan of trucks with small steering wheels like Volvos and stuff like that. It's very uncomfortable to ride in one when somebody's driving one.
So you got to sleep on that couch, which must pull out to a bed, right?
Right. Well, you sleep standing up.
Yeah.
And of course, it's got blue lights, which is the absolute worst for trying to sleep with. I don't know.
Yeah, I can
I'm
see
not
why
impressed.
it's
I'm not impressed with a truck that has a futon for a sleeper. I graduated high school. I don't need to sleep on a futon ever again. No, thank you.
That's funny.
There we go. There's a real truck.
Yeah, there's a real truck.
You got to have 10-inch subs in the doors.
That's not a Walmart concept truck. That's a true Peterbilt.
That there's Home Depot.
Yeah.
There's your Walmart concept truck. Got to get a PlayStation in there.
Yep. Well, if it's automated, you can just play video games while you drive.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's like-
Lowe's. That's a Lowe's semi truck, right? The Cobalt.
Right.
You can either have that or
You
can
got to have the shifter. You need to put air in your seat to shift.
Yeah, you got.
See there's okay, so this is a Freightliner. See those are the TV
Yep.
screens right there. Those are your mirrors. Now, I'm not a genius, but you know how like if it's raining like crazy, what happens to your camera? Like I see dash cams all the time. What happens to the dash cam? You can't see anything, right?
I talked to
Physical
somebody at
mirror,
Freightliner,
you can
and they-
huh?
I talked to somebody at Freightliner about that, and they said, the cameras are like super heated, and they're able to clean themselves and stuff. They made sure to cover their ass on it.
The technology on their mirrors is actually pretty damn good. I mean, a lot of it came from like the racing background. They actually have like flashing like lights on the screen, and it will show you like the closing distance and everything. It all came from like the 24-hour Le Mans like racing series and stuff. It's a pretty common technology, and it's pretty advanced. It'll actually show you the closing distance. So which is, I guess, would be nice in some aspects for a truck driver, right? You get them guys that just sit back there and almost feels like they're screwing with you a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if you we talked to these backup camera people at GATS one year, and they said that I'm not even sure why they were at the truck show, because they said that their technology won't reach the end of the trailer on a 53 foot. I'm like, why are you here? You realize this is a trucking show, right? Not an RV show. But I think that the minute that they can put technology where you can see the back of your trailer, like a flatbed can do that. You can put it on the back of the cab, and as long as you didn't have a load that went over the height of the camera on the back of the truck, you can pretty much see behind you, which I have a friend of mine that does that. But a lot of these guys don't know how to get out and look, and then Ford's got that technology that will help you put the trailer in the spot that you need to put it. So, I mean,
yeah, and you actually just use a little joystick on the dashboard to maneuver the truck. You don't touch the steering wheel.
Wow. And the minute that technology hits the trucking industry, then you really can put any meat in the seat.
I've always said once they automate the yard goats, then that's when it's going to get crazy.
Well, you pull up a video and go and look at the port of Hamburg in Germany. It's all automated.
Yeah,
everything's automated there. Now it's obviously in a controlled environment, and I think that's when you talk about automation, it's not so much the automation technology which is the issue. It's us knuckleheads behind the wheels and everyone else. We're so unpredictable, right? And that's I think what's right, what's wrong is the debate. Is the human right or is the computer right? And I think that's the big issue. Not so much can a computer do it. You can program these things to do anything in a controlled environment, and that's the problem.
Ultimately, it's shareholders versus lawyers.
Yeah. I mean, even if look, I look at it like this. Even if it got to a point to where it was 95% safe, there's still human error, and you're going to get sued. Would you rather? Let's say you've got to defend it, right? You've got a computer which it's programmed to do a certain thing. You know exactly what parameters it falls in. It's very easy to defend. It's programmed to do this. And then you have a human. Well, was he on his cell phone? Was he screwing with the radio? Because I try and look at it both sides, and I see the arguments from both sides, and I think it just comes back to that controlled environment and trying to make it as safe as possible all around. But reality is, there's going to be accidents with both. I mean, that's
there already has been.
Yeah. Yes.
Six Emperor Tyrannus is saying, how will they put out lithium fires when the batteries get ruptured in an accident? They don't. They let it burn.
But that's the big thing, though, right? People confuse electric with automation. Automation can be diesel still,
right?
Just because something's automated doesn't mean it's going to be electric.
There's the cabless truck. Oh, where the heck?
So what's happening, Stuart?
Oh,
same crap, different day, man. I was just been at the house today and just getting stuff done on some of my toys at the house. I've got a race next weekend, and then I'm going into Nashville tomorrow. The Indy car's in town, so I'm gonna go and watch that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then my wife had the McLaren team in the restaurant last night, so she was dealing with them. And then after the race, come back to the house and then try and fight that traffic back down to Atlanta. I got a delivery late tomorrow night in Atlanta. So I'm just riding this gravy train till stuff's changed on me.
Atlanta's rough.
Yeah, it's that's why I like to do it at night. And then with that race coming back through Nashville, I'm sure that's gonna suck as well, because they got a whole bunch of roads closed off because it's a street race.
Nomadic Brick wants to buy a bunch of trucking companies.
Give it a couple years.
It's gonna be lucky to have anybody survive this year, pretty much. But There's one of those cabless trucks, right? So the next technology, in my opinion, would be the like they fly drones, right? It would be like that. Like you're basically driving the truck from an office, from a screen, from a video screen. And then I think that some ports already use this technology. Just like some rail yards, the trains are automated. They're not 100% on their own, but they're being driven by a person in an office, with the joystick and all that, like a drone.
So then what they do is they go after the kids that are the best video gamers in the world.
Yeah.
And pay them top dollar to drive a bunch of trucks around.
I read an article, and I can't remember what it was, but it was about a year and a half ago. And so there's a technology out there with Freightliner was working on, and it was almost like it would have one truck follow another. So you'd have the driver in one following the first one, and the second one was all automated for a lot of freight. And Freightliner focused their technology and went away from that and went straight to all automation, and are focusing more of their resources on that because they said they didn't see the point in it on the following technology, whatever you want to. I forget what it is.
I know what you're talking about. There's a certain term for it, but it's like the trucks convoy themselves.
Yeah, they convoy behind the first one,
right?
And they reduced the budget on that by a lot to put it into more of the automation side of it, because they saw that being more of a hot market in the future, which I would thought was very interesting, because that's, if you look at, like I said, we just said about the controlled environment, you can sort of eliminate that a little bit with the convoying effect,
Yeah, I remember there was a few YouTubers that were making a big deal about automated trucks because it sold clicks, it sold views. And, and so people ask me, people outside the industry ask me, are you worried about automated trucks? I'm like, no. You do the stuff that automated trucks can't. You do the work that electric trucks can't.
Mm-hmm.
By the time that technology is viable to take everybody's jobs, I'll be out of trucking anyways, as far as the driver goes, and so, and if an automated truck, an autonomous truck can pass me without getting over my lane because they're finger screwing their phone, then hey, I'm all for it. I'm not threatened by the whole appeal to it. I'm not threatened by it at all.
Here's the problem. Look what the problem Tesla's having, right? And they're not fully automated,
right?
Just by their little self-driving, because the Jeep we have drives itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you can set the cruise and take your hands off the steering wheel. It keeps telling you to put them back on the steering wheel, right? But look at all the problems they're having with a little glitch happens and the car goes out of control or goes in the other lane. What's that going to do with a truck? But the biggest part with that is, let's say it's a fully automated truck. If all the other cars around it aren't fully automated, you've got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, it doesn't count.
It's a game of data, though, right? It's a game of data. The more data that's collected, the quicker it's going to come. I mean, I always refer back to these, right? Cell phones. Who would have thought 15 years ago? I mean, in my lifetime, but I could have been talking to someone face to face around the world on a mobile device, right? I mean, it's happened so quickly, and I think that's the bit that I think we all underestimate sometimes is how advanced is this and how quickly is that technology coming, right? How quickly is that data being collected?
It's called truck platooning, where one truck they'll automatically follow the other truck and go wherever it goes.
But take a look at the crash mitigation systems that are in there and how it slams on the brakes.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's in the wintertime, and we had a huge jump in people crashing, jackknifing in Pennsylvania. Huge jump in that crash mitigation system come out. Why? Because people are using cruise control in the winter, and they go into the overpass, and the thing thinks there's something there, and it slams on the brakes, or somebody cuts in front of them, and next thing you know, they're jackknifing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
My
also
boss had
on
to
the-
stop using them on triples runs for FedEx because it would start to wiggle too much in the turns. There's a certain turn on the way to Carlin, Nevada, where every truck that has that crash mitigation will back out of the throttle real quick or tap the brakes, and there's no reason for it. It's just a normal turn, but it's just something about the road, the way it is, that the computer sees it and wants to start a braking event. But when you're pulling a set of triples, you don't want to be wiggling that in a turn.
And what do you do when they change the lane of traffic because they're doing construction? Then what happens?
Yeah, well, that's where it comes back to data, right? And with that crash mitigation stuff, that how automated is that, right? I mean, you compare that to a Tesla thing where it's driving itself down the road versus a crash mitigation thing. There's still a human element to that, or cruise control being on, and how much of that's human error. Once again, how much of that's computer error, and it's one of them things to where it's very difficult to tell, what is the real issue here,
Well, it was a funny story. My wife yelled at me the other day because we were in the Jeep and we went out to the property, and I didn't get out there to mow or nothing. So we get out there and it's really high there, and we pulled in, and when I turned around, I got out, off the road we put in, and it just slams on its brakes. All the sensors went red, and the thing just slams on the brakes. So I put it in reverse, try to back up, slams on the brakes, couldn't go anywhere until I turned that system off because it thought we were running into something that was just, wheat.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt nothing, but it wouldn't let you go.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this video? Check it out. Watch.
Oh, this guy, yeah.
You got to admit, he kept us cool.
No, well, wait till the end.
His whole world went upside down. Look at that. I want to know how he got it completely over. Was he pulling a tanker?
Yeah, it's
Well, there's cheap Volvo parts.
Yeah, there you go.
The thing about automation is that it lowers the barrier to entry to trucking, just like the automated transmissions did.
Yeah.
It would be easier to bring people that are less qualified into the industry.
So on that note, then, these megas that do all of the lobbying in DC with the ATA, hey, we don't have to put a driver in a truck. We now have a somewhat controlled environment. The only uncontrolled.
Not only that, but we can hire somebody just out of high school now.
Yeah, I mean, even if you need that, right? I mean, look, let's be real. The way that I personally see it going is it's going to be, you have a drop yard in Jacksonville, and that truck's going to hook up, go all the way out across 10 till a next drop yard and drop there, right? In just drop in controlled environments. And it's going to do a lot of the majority of that final mile stuff, I think, starting out is going to be done by the driver still, which, that's what drivers want, right? They want good money and a lot of home time. They're going to try and fill that need if I was a mega, that's the way I would be looking at it, right? But they're the ones that are going to be doing the lobbying to these agencies to push that stuff, especially if it makes sense for the bottom dollar. If
you look at it right now, the megas already invest a lot in rail transportation as it is. I mean, basically, you're talking about rail transportation. If you have, the truck kind of takes its stuff to a depot.
Yeah, just when's it going to happen is the question. Is it 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now? I mean, what's that rate of development?
It all depends on the EMP attack.
I won't be around. I won't be around to see it.
No, look, it's like, when I rented the car to go to Matt's, it had that technology, because I drive 20-year-old vehicles. So I'm like, I didn't know this thing.
Steve used it. He was sleeping all the way there.
So the steering wheel, I noticed that the steering was kind of tough. Right? I'm like, man, this steering feels weird. I know it's front wheel drive, but man, that's weird to it. And then like all of a sudden it jerked my wheel a little bit. I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like, is this thing wanting to drive itself? So I let go of the steering wheel. I'm like, and the car's following the road. holy crap. All of a sudden, it's like alarm comes off. Hold on the steering wheel. This is not an automated vehicle.
Yes, it's lane guidance. Not
Yeah.
Lane guidance. Yeah.
A friend of mine told me that you can buy something on Amazon that clamps onto the steering wheel
Right. So
to
it thinks
make,
you've got.
make the car think that.
in a Tesla. You just put an orange in the spokes of the steering wheel, and that simulates the same thing as your hand or something. You can automated drive as long as you want. Just put an orange in the steering wheel.
So with the evidence of that video I just played, that once that technology is in the semis, that you're going to have people like, you know what, I need to go back and make myself a sandwich. So I'm going to put the orange here and put the clamps here and walk in the back. And then they're going to blow a steer. And then
So then, once again, who's at fault? Is that the human, or is that who's going to get that massive lawsuit, that nuclear lawsuit?
Right.
And that's the question.
Drivers are disposable, so it's not the driver.
Right.
Well, that's the thing if they went all autonomous, who's going to get that lawsuit when it runs over a bunch of people? Is it going to be the carrier or the manufacturer?
Yeah.
Or the manufacturer of the technology?
Well, kind of like what they do in the medical field, they pass emergency, measures that say that you can't sue them. I'm pretty sure that there'll be some kind of something written up like that, for the sake of the environment, or the sake of the trucker shortage, or, and drivers will be happy to sign up for that. Hey, I can make the same amount of pay and I can go in the back and make a sandwich while the truck's going down the road. Okay, sign me up. And the automotive industry, look what happened to it. I mean, look at all the jobs that were taken away with the robots, right? Like these.
Well, if they do that, the young kids will sign up. Why? Because they could sit in the back, play video games all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so
hang out.
But it's a lifestyle, right? Regardless, you got to like traveling, you got to like living in the truck stops, you got to like doing all that. And and that and the pay is why people don't want to do the job anymore.
And it's the lifestyle,
Yeah.
At CR England is an acronym. It's call recruiting. Every new guy lasts about 90 days.
I've never heard that. That's funny. But
Nomadic Brits talking about intermodal. No tanker intermodal. Okay.
I'm surprised rail isn't a bigger thing here. I'll be perfectly honest. You look across Europe, right? You have bullet trains and whatever else. I mean, I'm surprised there's not more. I mean, yeah, you got Amtrak, but how reliable is that, right? It's compared to Europe, it's nothing, right?
Right. Well, but Europe is smaller, America's bigger, and we have a just-in-time thought process on all of our supply and demand.
The Muppet there. I'd like to see that. That's good. That'd be impossible to do everything out there because your 2 lanes of traffic road is way smaller than on a test track.
My thoughts on Stuart's comment is that the rail infrastructure is severely outdated. I mean, if you look at what's going on the tracks there in LA,
the trains are moving so slow that you can climb up on it with bolt cutters, empty half the container, and step off.
And just like the ports have been backed up, the rail's been even worse. And so, the rails can't find chassis. They're spending 6 hours just to pick up one load. Our infrastructure and both our highway and our rail system is so outdated because of corporate greed, not putting the money back into those stuff. So you have people coming here from third world countries going, wow, I thought the highway system was better here. I thought that, the rail system was better here. Meanwhile, these third world countries are putting together rail systems that far superior to what we have. And and Sterling's right. It's the massive size of our country. I mean, how if you compare Great Britain to one of our states. I mean,
It's geographically smaller than Florida, Great Britain.
Right. And so we have a lot of land, a lot of climates, a lot of, if you have a train that goes from Pennsylvania to, Washington State, that's a lot of mountains. That's a lot of environments. You're going through desert, you're going through forest, you're going through mountains, and so there's a lot of challenges. But the reality is that money's not going back to these infrastructures, which is why they're failing. I mean, look at Michigan roads. Look at the construction that's been going on in Pennsylvania. I went like 4 years. I used to go to Pennsylvania all the time. And then I went 4 years, and then I finally went to Pennsylvania one more time. And it's like same construction zones, same potholes, same spots. Maybe one of the travel centers was a little bit new and improved, but and meanwhile I'm paying $200 to cross, to Mechanicsburg. It's like, where's this money going?
Yeah.
California's done a bunch of road work on the way to Tracy, California. And, they dug out the cracks and then resealed it with new concrete, but they put like a 2-inch lip on all the concrete. So even though they fixed the highway, you're still catching air off the friggin' patches that they put.
Hey, Steve, I got to roll.
All right,
See
Jeff,
you guys
thanks
later.
for coming in.
Yep.
Good seeing you, Jeff.
Later.
I'm reading this text that I just got.
From Nomadic.
Yeah. Fatality was caused by 2 tires that came off an 18-wheeler, one of which struck a vehicle, killing 32-year-old and injuring 11-year-old passenger. So Nomadic Brit basically is asking, what if the trucks are automated, who's going to monitor the wheels and the tires and do the pre-trips? Well, the beginning first wave, you're going to have a truck sitter. There's a video out there of a guy, he's looking at his iPad, he's driving the truck, then he puts it on autopilot, essentially. And he's sitting there, the seat goes to the side, and he's sitting there kicking back with his coffee and his iPad, and then an alarm comes on when he's getting ready to exit, and then he comes back. So you're still going to need someone to pre-trip the truck. Now, an entrepreneur might go, hey, you know what? At these stations where these trucks get interchanged, like the loads or the trailers, these open areas like you see out on the toll roads, for the UPS and the triples,
Right.
That's where the pre-trip would happen. But then you've got monitors, you've got tire sensor monitors, you're going to need a ton of sensors. And the problem with sensors is that they fail, right? I mean, how much has your truck costed you because of a sensor failure? Oh, you're like, for example, my oil pressure was showing 100 on a trip. I'm like, oh, that's not good. But the truck was running fine. Come to find out, it was the oil pressure sensor. How many DPF issues do you have where it's just the depth sensor?
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a double-edged sword. But yeah, how do you pre-trip a truck? I mean,
well, I think that's the easy. See, to me, I think that's the easy stuff, because when you're putting a truck out there and there's no human in it, you build in redundancy, right? There's always going to be redundancy built in. So let's just take oil, okay? On oil, you can do oil pressure, you can do oil temperature, you can do oil volume. Well, if your oil pressure suddenly goes, but you've still got good temperature and the volume's still there, we can assume that the oil's still there. There's always going to be redundancy. Another one, tires. You can have tire temperature and you can have tire pressure. Well, if you start seeing, the pressure drop and then the temperature come up in the tire itself, surface temperature, internal temperature, you can say, hang on, we've probably got something going on with this tire right here. Let's put it over at the next station. This stuff happened. The thing is, it's the cost, right? Because this stuff is already available. I'm a huge racing fan. You look at like Formula One. I mean, they're vastly sending this telemetry across the world in a racing scenario. Yeah, it costs a lot of money. But when you take out a driver that you have to pay, say, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, and you put that back into the cost of the truck, in the long run, over a 5, 6, 7, 8 year plan, it's still cheaper, even if the truck was $300,000 because of all of the extra sensors. Yes, there is some things that you're just not going to get around. There has to be a driver there, but that's where there's inspection stations, or I don't think that you're ever going to eliminate having to go on the hook. Even with electronics, you're going to have to be on the hook, but that happens with drivers as well. I don't think that's going to change. There, it's just they're going to build in redundancy, right?
Well, I got a funny story. So when I was at Transland, I was assigned 2 brand new trucks the time that I was there. Well, 3 actually. They're pretty good about giving you a new truck every 2 years. And so they put me in this Kenworth T660, and it runs well for a month, and everything's fine, and I put it in for a service. I go out Monday morning, mill light comes on, so I just get down the road, and then I called the shop like, hey, I've got a mill light. He's like, well, what's wrong with it? I'm like, well, that's why I called you. It's like, well, you need to check your manual. So we had this argument about the manual, which that's a different story for a different day. But anyways, when I got to Indiana, he had lectured, the mechanic lectured me about not reading the manual. Like not reading the manual to tell me what that light meant. And admittedly, I didn't know what the light meant. I didn't realize there was 2 levels. You had the middle light, and then you got the check engine light, and then you got the light that tells you you're screwed, right? The stop engine light. So I get up to Indiana. Now the engine light comes on. So I check the code, shut off the truck. Next morning, I call up the shop. Hey, now I've got the stop engine light. And I read the manual, and it says for me not to move this truck. And he goes, well, can you try to get it to South Bend? I went livid. I was like, are you kidding me? You lectured me for 20 minutes the other day about reading the manual, and I finally read the manual, and now you're going to tell me to do something that the manual says not to do? I mean, I went off on this dude, right? And so I put it in idle. I've got idle power. It'll just go forward. That's it. So he calls the tow truck. I spend, pretty much 8 hours at Kenworth in the lounge there in South Bend. And the truck only had 9,000 miles on it. The only truck that's ever put me on a hook, knock on wood, had 9,000 miles on it. So I go into the service area to make to see if they had any update on the truck, and I asked the shop, after he was done lecturing me, I was yelling at him. I said, is it possible that one of your flunkies forgot to plug in something, or something like that during the service? And he got pissed off at me. So as I walk in, I hear the service manager going, yeah, so and so, yep, yeah, it looks like one of the depth sensors became unplugged. I guess it happened during the service. And I walked in, and he's like, yeah, I'll tell the driver. He's right here listening.
Right.
Next time I got on the phone with that mechanic, he was very nice to me. He's like, yes, Steve, we're going to get you a hotel. Don't worry about it. He was very But yeah, I mean, it was literally an unplugged sensor that caused, a couple $100 in tow bills, and and later on, that truck would strand me for a week in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, because there's a huge fuel filter issue. And while Cummins and Transland and Kenworth were arguing about who was going to pay for it, I was sitting in a hotel during the polar vortex, so I couldn't even go outside. It was kind of a crappy week. So yeah, my impression of newer, and that was the first DEF truck that I had driven, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I wasn't impressed, but it's amazing how one sensor can cause all that. I mean, I get your point of the redundancy, but I mean, Freightliner, if it shows low coolant, it's shutting down.
You're done. Yeah.
Right. And luckily, there's a sensor in the Kenworths and the tanks that will tell you that you're low on antifreeze and you're not, and it won't shut the truck down. Unless you lose pressure, like if you really blow hose or something. But Freightliners don't do that. Freightliners like, hey, this says you're out of antifreeze, so we're pulling over.
Yeah. You don't see as much redundancy in trucks because, I mean, it's not like an airplane where there has to be separate subsystems that keep the damn thing flying. With a truck, it's not a big deal. You can coast off to the side of the road. But I think with the automated trucks, you're going to see a lot more redundancy come into the.
Plus, there's a human there, right? I mean, that's our job as drivers. It's not just holding the steering wheel and looking out the window. I mean, the pre-trip. I mean, there is an element of the manufacturers know, hang on, we've got a human body in here. They don't really look at us. I mean, today's age, I mean, 90% of us are arse hats, it seems like, out here and really don't do the job, and it's. But
it also translates to the shops that we're taking our trucks to right now. Now we have an influx of technicians and not necessarily mechanics.
Well, you just said the sensor wasn't plugged in. Both scenarios you described there to me, a sensor not plugged in, human error. Then there were ones that you said they were arguing about a fuel filter, and it took them longer to argue about a fuel filter. Well, that's human error. I'm not human error, but there's just the element of human in there, right? Now, obviously, the fault is going to be for mechanical, but all this.
And trust me, a technician could have plugged it into the OBD, and that thing would say, "Here's the code, and here's the probable causes, and here's the possible solutions. Start with number one." And that technician, even though he doesn't have all the training, can just follow the scan tool, and it'll show him what to do.
Yeah, and a lot of places just throw parts at something. Well, that didn't fix it. Well, it sucks to be you. You just bought a $5,000 turbo. So and that's the kind of thing that's taking small businesses out. That's what's taking small companies out is it's all the external stuff. I mean, you could deal with low rates for a while, but it's the other stuff that's adding to.
The only thing that's keeping me afloat right now is my ability to work on my own truck.
I believe that. So, but that's the point Nomadic Brit was talking about was, how does a machine know that two wheels are about to fall off the trailer? It's there's no answer. The bottom line is I'm not worried about it. Because it's going to take a while for the technology to catch up. I'm not worried about the electric trucks because it's going to take a while for the infrastructure. And I think it's going to be a big failure. And how California is dealing with the Tesla cars and the power grid failures is a perfect prediction of what's going to happen if they try to push things before the infrastructure's in place.
I would even be going willing as far as to say, if you look at electric and automation, which one would come first? I would say automation would come before electric, because if you look at what it would cost to upgrade the infrastructure in this country, I mean, trillions of dollars. I mean, the amount of power, battery technology versus automation. To me, automation is more of just data collection and data collection rather than anything else.
Yeah. But not only that, but it's the sharing of that data as well. Lex Friedman has talked about it before, and the biggest thing that's preventing autonomous driving is that every single vehicle doesn't communicate with each other. Right. You might have your Tesla that's 10 cars behind, but it might be communicating with the Tesla 20 cars ahead, and that car missed a 2x4. It's going to know to tell that car, hey, merge and all that stuff. We need all the vehicles.
That technology already exists. You look at airplanes, they have some collision mitigation in airplanes. Yeah. If you're on the same altitude flying towards each other, everything will go absolutely bananas in the cockpit. And it's required by the FAA and all these organizations around the world. If you're a commercial jetliner or if the aircraft requires a type rating, you're meant to have it in the aircraft. Right. And it will pretty much say, hey, you're about to hit someone, change altitude, change heading. So this stuff is already out there, and they're communicating back and forth. So it's out there and being used, just not in such a dense, in the real world like what we're doing here, where there's so many trucks versus aircraft, I guess,
That's the purpose of the 5G. And if you look at Google Maps, it shows you the live traffic. That's the exact technology.
And Starlink and all that. They want everything to be connected.
Right. So, but anyways, guys, thanks for coming on. I'm going to end this. I don't want to get too late here. And thanks for coming on. Thanks for helping support the channel and bring it on, because I really didn't have anything to talk about tonight.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, Snorelord, I went live this morning and had Shannon Thomas on. She gave me a really cool interview, and she had a pretty cool story. So yeah, if you want to direct anyone to my channel, I'll throw 4 questions at somebody that I'm interviewing, and I got a really cool story out of her this morning.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll share that on my community page, and
it's really cool.
I'll tell you what. Let me do this here. Let me get the YouTube.
And she's heading home. Unless anybody that follows the channel here, she's going to come back to her truck later. She needed to go see family this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, when your truck breaks down, and here's something that's kind of an annoyance, right? And Shannon, if you're watching, you'll be able to relate. But when the shop tells you that this will be done in 2 days, so you're sitting there like, well, do I get a hotel? Do I get a rental car home? And then a week goes by and you realize that you could have gone home and the rental car could have been cheaper than the hotel. It's like these shops don't realize that, look, there's a lot of money riding whether you tell me whether this is going to be done today or a week from today, simply because of that cost in and of itself. You can handle the other stuff, but then I spent a week in a hotel over a blown turbo, and I was only 200 miles from the house. I could have had my wife come get me if I knew I was going to be in that week. But it was like, oh, it should be done tomorrow. It should be done tomorrow.
That would have been a $50 Greyhound ride.
I've always gone to default of just go home. I've always gone to default, go home. I've been burnt by shops too many times. You burn me once, you're not going to do it again. I'll just go home, have my home time, and I'll just communicate through email. You tell me when it's ready. And because you know what?
Not only that, but when you tell me the truck is done, put it on the phone. I want to hear it running.
Yes.
Well, that's the advantage I have. So a lot of the work I do here in Springfield, I can see on the ELD when they've worked on the truck, when they moved the truck, and 9 times out of 10, I got to call them. Hey, is my truck done? Oh yeah, we were going to call you. Yeah, it's done. Come pick it up. I'm like, really, dude? So let me,
or worse than that, they'll say, well, we're going to close in about an hour, but he's working on it right now. It should be done. Come on down.
Which video is it?
It'll be my last live from this morning. I think it's Good Morning Weekenders or something like that. I was having an issue finding it earlier. I don't know if YouTube hated it or what.
No, I'm not saying. I see Death by Yummy, Running Down Cabbage, Happy Lunchtime. That's the one that me and DIY on.
Yeah.
FUCR England.
Right. I love that company.
So Sterling, if
yeah, it would be my last live from this morning. So I don't know if YouTube's hiding it or what. I might have spoke something that pissed off the gods.
Well, did you stream it with a StreamYard or did you stream it from your phone? You did it.
It was on the computer. Yeah.
Maybe check your privacy settings on that one particular video, because I know that smaller channels, the videos might go private automatically, and then you got to go back in there and make it public.
Okay.
I mean, I don't tend to have to do that if I use StreamYard, like I'm using StreamYard on the smaller channel.
Yeah, because I noticed today I couldn't pick it up on my phone. I was showing my girlfriend and it didn't pop up, but I can see it on the computer. So I don't know.
The notification.
Sorry to derail you trying to get out of here.
Well, I just put a video in the private chat here. If you want, it's about 50 minutes long, and it talks about energy and drilling and stuff like that, which is very interesting. It's based out of Canada. It's a good watch if you ever get some time. Save that link to that video because it's a good watch and listen. But on that note, I'm going to get out of here and let you go. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Stuart.
Good seeing you, Stuart.
How long ago was that video?
It would have been like 8 o'clock this morning Pacific.
Okay, so about 10 hours ago.
If I can find the link, I'll just throw it on up there. The battle of computer wits. Who will win?
I have no wits. Okay, I'm at 10 hours ago on my notifications.
Yeah, for some reason it's not Oh, here it is. Good morning, weekenders, with special guest Shannon. Let's see.
So put it in the private chat, like Stuart did.
Okay.
You know, go to the private chat, put the link in there, and then I could share it since you're not a moderator.
I'm not a moderator.
Yeah, I'm not like James Best. I don't pass out moderation wrenches to just anybody.
Who's James Best? All right, that should be it there.
Okay.
I believe. But yeah, Shannon popped in for a little bit. We had a really cool interview.
Yeah, she's a talker, man. I've got her, you know, we've talked privately, and she wants to come over here eventually to like trucking, and she's got her head on her shoulders. And there's James Best. Sterling doesn't know who you are, so introduce yourself, Mr. Best.
Do I have to impersonate him too?
And I was just mentioning, I don't give everybody a wrench like you do. I'm not as generous. Although I probably could give Sterling, because he gave me one on his channel. But yeah, there's the link. I put it in there. But yeah, she's got her head on her shoulders. So I think you know, she called me about wanting dispatch. I'm like, you know what? You're already getting a lot taken from your carrier. And I said, you know, you're actually figuring it out on your own. You know, I'm not for everybody. And she's figured it out. And so I think she's doing pretty good, especially with the down market and her limited amount of brokers she can use. But she'll be all right. Because it's mindset, right? It's mindset. That's why it helps you survive. You can survive any storm as long as you have the right mindset and the willingness to do it. Some people just like, you know what, I'm not into this anymore.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna fade away because it's not worth it. You know,
it's grit and the ability to absorb the bullshit. Do you live near Reno, Nevada?
Hey, Josh, what's up? But yeah, check out those links. Everybody in the chat, thanks, Sterling, for coming in. It's always interesting to talk to you, man. I had fun on your live feed the other day. I got to figure out how to do the questions on the screen like you did. That's pretty.
Yeah, I went in. I guess you go underneath like banners and stuff, and you can pre-write the questions. And I've got a new subset of questions too. So if anyone jumps in all live, I can throw some questions at you. James Best is saying Sterling, Illinois. Been there too many times.
Let me try this. Hey, I did it.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm not sure how many you can put in there, but like right now, because I was having my best friend had a stroke, so I put in the stroke awareness stuff. And
right, that's a good idea. I can do ticker tapes. I can do that.
Yes,
you know, I can beg for money, or I could promote my T-shirts and my awesome coffee mugs.
Hell
right?
Yeah.
You know, my awesome T-shirts. I'm very cheesy right now with my. I'm a merchandiser.
Oh man, if there's a sex tape, I'm jumping off this.
No, there isn't a sex tape.
You're not that narcissistic?
No, not yet. Give me some time, right? Give me some time. I'm sure if I was 20, that'd probably be going on, but you know, I'm not.
Yeah. One of my favorite Joe Rogan jokes is him explaining to the aliens who Kim Kardashian is. The most famous woman on the planet.
Why? I don't know. We make stupid people famous for some reason. That's the MO. So, but
good times.
Anyways, thanks, Sterling, for coming in. Thanks for all the people in the chat that hung out tonight, and thanks to Jeff and Stuart that also came in. And if you want to, you know, support the channels, look throughout the chat. You can click on those, and you can go to the other channels: Nomadic Brit, Other Trucker James Best. You there's Sterling. He's got his channel up there. I put the link up. There's several channels in the chat there to check out, and let's support all the YouTubers that aren't 10,000 plus. So
Yeah, I think I'm up to like 420 right now. Calls for
yeah,
a celebration.
my small channel is at 445. Yeah.
All right.
And look, and that's my fault, right? I'm not consistent with it. You can't build a channel just off of live feeds, and if you do, it's very short span,
Right.
But it's hard to remain relevant on a trucking channel when you're not trucking. So I've completely changed my style because I'm dealing with dispatch, I'm dealing with safety. I'm still entrenched in trucking. In fact, I'll be up to 5 people next week on dispatch, but to the point where I'm not going to be able to drive my truck. But at the same time, my channel originally started off with me in the truck doing some edited videos with music and showing the sights and the sounds and the good and the bad, and now I've kind of turned into this podcast format, which seems to be popular. I mean, that's how YouTube is now, whereas 10 years ago YouTube wasn't like this. It wasn't. StreamYard and the live streams really have changed the landscape of these, not just YouTube, but like Facebook, Twitter. Twitter, we had Periscope back in the day, and so there's.
And with like YouTube Premium or Red or whatever they call it now, you can always put it in the background and just drive along with it.
Yeah. Yep. So, but so I'm trying to remain relevant, and I'm still in the trenches to a degree. I still own my truck, still driving on occasion.
Yeah.
Still have to rescue a few loads.
But I mean, look at it like Asian Mai. He has a subset of followers that watch everything he does, and
right.
And he outreaches. It's not just the people that are here in the comments and stuff. You get the replay gang that follows stuff, and
Yeah, and look, my original, what I wanted to start doing, and I've done it a few times, is to cut up the morning coffee live feeds on when the sections get really good, when I have a broker on, or when I have Big Rig CO on, or someone comes on and we talk about a specific thing, and I just haven't had the time to really kind of, like, I'm kind of half-assing it.
Well, it's very time consuming to go back through old footage, and if anything, have a notepad around and just timestamp.
Well, that's what I do. I've got 104 and 144 written for a video I must have done like 3 days ago or something. But the problem is I can't stand watching my own videos. I can't stand listening to my own voice. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm the same, like whenever I would do vocals, like go in the studio to record vocals, I hated the sound. I didn't get comfortable as a vocalist in the studio until the last 3 or 4 albums. But, because how studio microphone is. It's a magnifier. All your flaws.
The worst thing I bought was a Rode microphone. It's like, oh my God, I breathe like a fat guy.
So yeah, it's so we're learning, and I try not to get too technical because I don't have the time to really dedicate to the, I don't have the big soundboard, and CDN's trying to help me with some audio stuff, and I've got too much external noise that a microphone would pick up, I think.
Yeah.
I've tried the microphone. I've got it right here. It needs a boom stand because, number one, there's no room on my desk the way this is set up, because this desk was not, I bought this desk like 20 years ago. It's not meant for a dual screen computer, flat screen.
I'm using my kitchen table right now.
That's what I did for the longest time. Go back to my old live feeds. It's my laptop on the kitchen table behind me here, and I survived for a long time with a 10-year-old laptop, but it's like, I paid for the StreamYard because I do make some YouTube money, and I try to put back in the channel. But no, I've talked to Asian Mai personally. I've met up with him quite a few times, and
he's a really cool dude.
He is, and he is a marketer. I mean, everybody gives truckers coach crap, but you know what? That dude knows how to get whatever company he's at, his name in your mouth. He's got everybody talking about him. Asian Mai uses the same relentlessness, the same perseverance. And he told me, he goes, man, if I'm not putting out 4 videos a day, my numbers go down. He goes, that's when I usually bring my wife out, because she's hot and, people like to see her. So he'll put her in the thumbnail and he'll put her as a subject or something. And then it brings the numbers back up. It's a number.
And trust me, he can look at that little analytics button up there and see those results instantly.
Yep. And he's making good money doing it. Just like Just Trucking, just like all these guys, Bonehead Truckers. I mean, it's all analytics game. So, but yeah, other trucker doing his best. He says, 4 videos is a bit much, but he knows how to take content from other people and make it his own. The way he titles the videos. I mean, he's got some footage of me running around. He said, I might use your footage a month from now. I might use it 6 months from now. If I feel it's a hot topic, and what he and I talked about was trucker health.
Okay.
And, so, I mean, it's, he knows how to market. I mean, if you, like Sage, he knows, like, how do I grow my channel? He called me up one day and goes, how do I grow my channel? I said, well, here's the first thing you do. Contact Asia My Show, and he'll give you all the lessons you need for growing your YouTube channel as a truck, in the trucking space.
Yeah.
And so he did. He interviewed him, and same thing with James Best. Asia My interviewed James Best, and that's how, and Asia My gave us some strategies, and Eric is an analytic guy. He sits at home on his computer all the time. So now he's got 15,000 subscribers within 2 years. I mean,
it's amazing. And then you have DIY Semi, just, does whatever he wants and it works.
Right. Well, I mean, but the thing with DIY, if you look at his older videos, you look on how they're, Cassius King is good at this too. If you look at how they're titled, what they're about, a lot of people are struggling with wanting to fix their own truck.
Oh yeah.
The guys, DIY is not the only one that shows that kind of stuff. There's another guy called Blue Line Express who specializes in buying these $20,000 trucks and signing them on with Landstar and making killer money with them. The do-it-yourself, I mean, DIY, that's huge right now. I mean, look at half the reality shows. Let's fix your house. Let's fix your backyard. Let's fix, let's rebuild this. Let's rebuild that. Let's rebuild this car, But it's the way videos are titled. So there's got to be a certain persistence, right? I did my 40-day carnivore challenge. That really didn't, I thought that would hit off more than it would because it was hitting a trendy topic. I was doing a video every day for 40 days. And, it just, once YouTube grabs it though, it'll grab it, so, and you see it like when you go to your homepage on YouTube, you get this random video, like, why is this in my feed? And you look, it's got 4 million views. And it's just some cat walking across the floor or something stupid like that. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
It's all analytics. It's all numbers. So anyways, thanks for coming in, Sterling. I really appreciate you. And check out Sterling's channel, everybody, if you would. I think he's got some good skills. I think he's got some good topics, and he's got some good questions. And I think you're a natural, Sterling. I think you'll do well on this platform if you can grow it. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I like doing my live shows, and I paid for StreamYard so I can do all of the fancy stuff. And I do have a video that's going to premiere, I think, tonight at 10. But it's just me driving around Sumner, Washington. I like doing the point of view. Wear a camera on my head and drive around and ramble.
Oh yeah, those do really good. Trucking with Dave, Scotty D. Those two come to mind. Provost Motorsports, he does that. The head cam stuff. I've experimented with the head cam stuff, but I'm so tall. I like sitting high up on my seat. So
and you just see the friggin' thing above the.
And so I got to crouch down and like Now, if I bought like the true headband that went like it's literally on your forehead instead of on top of the hat, you know, it'd probably be a little bit better. But then every time I check my mirrors, you know, it feels like it's doing this like this arch, right?
Yeah, and you'll see that in my next video where the angle kind of goes a little wonky and stuff. And then my friend Mama J, she'll call me probably an hour after she watches that video tonight. She's like, I can't watch this on my big screen TV. I'm going to throw up in my own living room.
But look, I've been to several truck shows. I've had a lot of people come up to me, tell me how much they love my videos. Back when I was doing more of the driving stuff, driving down the road to music stuff. And they said, people live vicariously through us YouTubers on the driving stuff. They either can't become a truck driver, or they have a corporate job, or they're just curious about it. That's why, Ice Road Truckers.
Or they're off the road and retired.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why Ice Road Truckers was like the #1 TV reality series for a long time, is because people are curious about what we do out here. And you have channels like Bonehead Truckers that show nothing but the bad stuff. You kind of need the channels that show nothing but the good stuff.
Right.
But
it's candy versus steak.
Well, yeah, but it's negativity sells, though. I mean, if you look at my videos, anything with a negative something in the title, I've got double the views. If I say, "Oh, I crashed my truck," or "I failed," or something,
or I quit,
yeah,
I've put that in 2 of my videos, and man, they get a ton of my highest view trucking video was just line haul driver when I was working at FedEx. I just hooked up a set of doubles and drove around the yard and stuff, and that was it. It's like 6,000 views.
right?
Just simple stuff. And then my second one, I think was like I quit, but it was because I was getting rid of my rental reefer trailer and going power only at the time. But it drew people in.
Well, here's the deal, Sterling. This is a little bit of advice. You can take it or leave it, but I get asked all the time about how profitable is power only, because with the day and age of trailers being overpriced and hard to come by, there's a lot of people that jumped into this game last year that don't have trailers.
Right.
And I get those kind of comments and questions on Facebook all the time with the groups that I'm in is, "Hey, I'm power only. How's the Amazon? How's the FedEx? How's the Schneider? How's the JB Hunt? Power only stuff." And so for a person to kind of show that world and put that in the title, put hashtag power only. I did a power only video, and it got more views than my average driving videos.
Yeah, because there's a big interest in it right now, right?
Right.
I mean,
and
that's what I'm doing right now.
you put that in your description, you put that in your title, you put hashtag power only trucking, and that's going to grow your channel. Because how my channel, not the OG, but the one I'm on now, the how that grew is I titled it Landstar Life, and at the time there was only 3 other YouTubers that were doing videos about Landstar, and one of them got in some YouTube drama with me because he didn't like how I answered a question about a reefer team. But he and I settled it. We exchanged numbers, and we called each other, and we're okay to this day. The other guy was named Serge. He was heavy haul, and he ended up getting fired from Landstar because he was doing the head cam thing and was showing something with either he pulled over to do his safety check on the interstate, which is a no-no at Landstar,
right,
or he didn't secure something right. He ended up getting fired from Landstar from that. And then another guy who was on one of Texas videos, but he ended up leaving, and he stopped doing YouTube after Serge got fired. So, but my videos about Landstar were just talking head videos. I wasn't showing the driving stuff like I did on my other channel. So, but the title Landstar Life is what built it, because no one else was doing it.
Sure.
So, and then when I went to
You're
Schneider,
saying I need to start another channel, Power Only Life with Sterling.
No, you can do that with the channel you got now. I mean,
just
you
with
can change
one video,
titles.
right?
You can change titles. You can or I mean, not titles. You can change your name a little bit, you know, but you can also put that in every title of the video. So Max Force says there's a big interest in PowerLink California.
Yes, there is, and the Seattle region right now is kind of blowing up for power only. They need power only to pull cans.
You know, so you're sitting on a lot of potential. So you've got the equipment, you've got the knowledge, you're naturally good at talking on live. You know, a lot of people have trouble with that. So I think you've got. I mean, how long ago did you start your channel?
3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Yeah. To be honest, it's just a vlog channel and stuff, and I'm kind of hoping my daughter finds it someday and sees what kind of dude I am. You know.
Well, I mean, that's why I don't do the YouTube drama stuff, because, you know, if I pass away tomorrow, I want my kids to be able to look at my videos and go, yeah, that was my dad. He was a cool dude. You know, I'm not attacking anybody. I'm not yelling at anybody. I'm being respectful to everybody. And that's what I want my kids to remember, because, I mean, yeah, they'll remember me, but now they can get on the internet and watch me anytime I want, you know, whether I'm there or not. So that's why I do what I do on YouTube. So anyways,
it's good to hear we have that in common then.
Yep. I think you'll do well. Just you know,
just keep wearing a hat like Sage and impersonating him.
Yep. So, all right. Well, thanks, Shirley, for coming out and hanging out, and we'll go from there. Someone's trying to come in with a very rude photograph. That's funny. So,
thanks again, Steve. I really appreciate you, brother.
All right, man. Have a good night. All right. Well, Big Tone, you're not coming in. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a good night.